Hello and welcome to the Frontington Backwoods Railway. Today I thought I'd give you all a quick tour of the layout, showing you all the little details and giving some context to what's where and why. And first of all, a little history. The setting is roughly modern day, somewhere in the west of England. The Frontington Backwoods Railway is a heritage line, run by a small staff and a collection of enthusiastic volunteers. As you arrive at Frontington Station, you'll find ample parking available. To complement your visit, you'll find a picnic area and a small play park for the kids. Access to the station is up these steps, into the old booking hall. Disabled access is a work in progress at the moment. There is a gate at the end of the platform, and management has plans to lay some paving to improve access to that. This is Frontington Station. In its heyday, this station would have provided passenger access to the main line, as well as light goods. The town itself ended up expanding in the other direction, so all we can see of it from here is a row of houses on the outskirts. Today, the booking hall is still a busy place, albeit focused on tourism rather than business. The offices are upstairs, where Doris keeps an eye on the books. Downstairs, the original booking office has been preserved, while also making room for a small gift shop and tea room. Today's specials are on the board outside. Mike and Jeff are currently arguing about why the train is running late. Originally, there would have been more sidings on the other side of the platform, but much of this track work was taken up when the line officially closed some decades ago. Since then, volunteers have relayed a short piece of track and rebuilt the goods shed into a workshop and museum. An old tender engine can be seen slowly being rebuilt, although funds are low, so it's unlikely this will see the light of day for a while. This coach was beyond economic repair, so now it sits as a static feature, housing a small model railway for visitors. Behind the museum is a storage area, off limits for the general public. There's an old 040 pug stashed away there that's seen better days. The two working engines on the railway are housed in the engine shed. Guinevere is an 060 Terrier, an eager and characterful loco, much beloved by the volunteers and the visitors, and can often be seen pulling light passenger trains. Lancelot is the heavyweight, a J94 060, rescued from a local colliery. It's powerful for a little tank engine, and it will easily pull anything on this railway, even up the hills. At the other end of Frontington Station is a small goods platform. Goods operations here were once much more sprawling, but road traffic took over some decades ago, and industrial estates ate up much of the space the railway once had. The working signal box is still in place, though sadly closed to the public for now. You'll notice at the moment the staircase is missing, as it's being refurbished. Unfortunately, that means the signalman must use a ladder to get in, or I suppose some very long stilts. Up on the hill we find Backwoods Station, a little halt that originally served the village of Backwoods, a little way up the road from Frontington. It fell into disrepair some time ago, but volunteers are slowly making improvements where they can. With the now reduced space around Frontington Station, the scrubland adjacent to Backwoods now serves as a receiving area for coal deliveries, which have to be shuttled down to Frontington every now and then to replenish the stock. So that's the fictional history of the layout. In reality, this is a pretty small 00 gauge layout squeezed into my garage, requiring the exclusive use of radius 1 curves, which has restricted the choice of loco somewhat, but it's a trade-off I'm happy with. Underneath is a chipboard base reinforced by a wooden frame, supported by the cheapest table legs IKEA would sell me. On top, I've used extruded polystyrene sheets to build up the landscape. You can get these from model shops, but I found basically the exact same thing marketed as underfloor heating insulation at a fraction of the price. Sculpting it was pretty easy, and once glued down with PVA, it was sealed and painted with some cheap acrylic paint. The buildings have come from various places. The bungalow I inherited from an old layout, and the two houses were kits I built myself. The goods platform was scratch built using cardboard. The booking hall is an old Hornby model, as are the platform sections underneath, although they have had a coat of paint to reduce the plastic look. The museum was once a Hornby goods shed, which I've covered using some card I printed textures onto. The engine shed had a similar treatment, this time using off-the-shelf brick paper. At Backwoods, the station is Hornby platform pieces underneath, connected to some offcuts of that polystyrene sheet to make the curve, all covered in some textured card. The trackwork itself is almost entirely inherited from an older layout, which on the one hand made it free, but also meant that I've got a mixture of brands, metals and qualities. Regular cleaning is required, particularly on some sections of track that are very old and pitted. The track was originally pinned down, but I found that the track pins didn't hold very well in the polystyrene, so it was only fixed in place properly once the ballast was added. Electrically, the DC layout, gauged by a Gagemaster DF. It's old, but brilliant low speeds. I've also divided the layout into 4 sections, wired up to these switches that I can have two-way control, enabling me to run the same locos at the same time. For simplicity, I'm using a negative feed. There are also lights wired in for the street lights, building lights, platform lights and so on, all fed from a cheap 12-volt power supply. I've been working on the layout for the past year and a half, but as with most layouts, this is far from complete. I'm in the process of painting a load more. I need to lay down some brown scatter for the fill. I need to begin a static grass application. I need to plant some more trees, plant some more gardens, and I need to figure out a whole load of other little details too. Well, that's about it for now. I hope you found that little tour interesting. Do let me know in the comments what you think, and feel free to offer any advice on what else I can add. So thank you for joining me, and I'll leave you with a few shots of the trains going round. And until next time, goodbye.